I hope you are happy. I hope you are good. I hope everyone had a wonderful Memorial Day. Thank you to all the soldiers out there serving now, and especially the ones that gave their lives fighting for us and freedom. May we do a better job as people of taking care of them and comforting them and getting them the health care they deserve, the soldiers that are out there in the struggle now. Special thanks to Angela, my stepsister in the Air Force, and of course my dad and stepdad, who are both in the Air Force. They are my heroes. Alright, I just trying to do my best to be a Earth hero as well. I want to tell you guys this. Technically, this fits in the woo-woo department, and I literally had a top volcano scientist call me pseudoscience for inferring that the sun had anything to do with volcanoes or earthquakes. Which I was like, what? What? Sometimes it's crazy to me how much scientists and sometimes meteorologists are like, oh, yo, the sun doesn't affect the weather. The sun doesn't affect volcanoes. The sun does not affect earthquakes. I'm like, what, bro? Why? Where'd you go to school? Maybe that schooling wasn't so hot. Anyway, as I always do, when we have a large coronal hole that faces Earth, this one kind of looks like a dog. Or pick your own animal. See its little nose, and it's got little ears, and then you can see its leg coming out. We'll have to see the tail when it comes out. Anywho, this puppy's about to be facing Earth. It is a coronal hole. See that thing right there? Yep. And so, in my correlation and recollection, when we get a giant coronal hole that is directly facing Earth, we usually see a large uptick in earthquakes, larger earthquakes, and volcano activity. So, seeing as how this coronal hole will be facing us, maybe even in hours, definitely until that thing passes, and maybe even a little after, you can go ahead and take your alert up a notch. Okay? That's all I'm saying. And we can use this as a scientific test. I will make another video after this thing passes, and we will look at it. Did there happen to be an uptick in earthquakes? And as usual, I recommend Dutch Sense on YouTube. He's fantastic at earthquakes. And then Suspicious Observers is good as well. And I always recommend you have a large data swath when pulling together your own scientific theses. Or whatever. So yeah, here we are, we're looking at the sun. Because remember, when the sun acts weird, Earth weather acts weird. And then people act weird too. Yep, the sun's been acting weird for a while. People have been acting weird for a while. The weather's been acting weird for a while. We are almost used to it at this point. So on top of all these shenanigans, right under this, well, I guess over our coronal hole, we have a sunspot. It could or could not be active. And definitely, one thing that led to the crazy hurricane season last year was, remember all those X-flares in July? Well, if the sun starts to heat up, and that's kind of a pun, and we start to see a lot of solar flares soon, and more sunspots, then yeah, you can expect a really active hurricane season. If we see a lot of sunspots, then yeah, it's on like Donkey Kong. At this point, I'm not sure we're that prepared. But we will take each day 1 hour at a time. I'm doing better than I was when I was at one word at a time. So, it's been a pretty rough May Day month for me. Like I mentioned, I lost my stepfather, who raised me and was a hero. Amazing man. Stay Cool is almost literally based after him, because he was almost always cool. And the only times he wasn't cool is when he was mad because someone had wronged him he was rightfully upset. I never saw him ever get mad about anything dumb. That's for sure. He was just an all-around cool guy. Like I mentioned, his funeral was jam-packed. I think there's over 250 people there. Everybody loved him. And that right there on this thing looked like some type of we're getting double flashes. One might have been a backside sunspot. But that looked like a flare right there that just happened moments before I made this video. Did we see it on these? That's wild. Yeah, we can see it's kicking up. Yeah, so we had I don't know if it's a flare or CME. It looks like a flare. But as I'm talking about, if we see activity, we are starting to see the sun get a bit active. I don't know if I'm going to go ahead and say it's a solar flare, and then you guys can argue and take away my scientific credentials afterwards, I guess. Well, yeah, that's definitely a flare. X-class, M-class, I don't even know. So technically, the warning that I was going to give you guys is for the coronal hole. Oh, yeah. Anywho. Right? Are we cool? I think we are. And, if you stay this long, unfortunately I have to remind you, THORNEWS is a publicly funded channel. And after this week of family and everything going on, I'm almost broke, man. And we have rent coming up. So I'm going to do what I can, keep this thing up and running. And any donations are always helpful and appreciative. At this point, I can barely even think. Here's our magnetic field. Looking super crazy. People are like, the sun does not affect weather. I'm like, well, magnetic field says differently, bro. And when the magnetic field freaks out, people freak out. Weather freaks out. So, yeah. Interesting times are back again. So we'll hold this scientific experiment and see. A, will we see earthquakes, a large tick in earthquakes, an uptick in earthquakes and solar activity? Or will I be wrong? I don't mind either way. Anyway, stay cool. God bless everyone. Talk to y'all soon.